Hey, welcome back. Obsessed with Balls podcast here. Chris and Jacob. Sorry we missed you last week. Weather in Denver was kind of wild.
I think it was a record-breaking snowstorm.
Yeah, I mean, there was 8 inches on one of the days that we were supposed to do it,
Yeah.
and then the second day when we were like, oh well, let's do it again. It was a wetter snow, so it didn't accumulate, but it was another like 6 inches. It was wild.
I think there was an area that got 4 feet,
Yeah,
which is crazy for this time of year.
yeah. No, it's unheard
really
of. It's
early.
really, I mean, 4 years into living here. I mean, you're what? A decade? Yeah, a decade in. I've never seen November snow in Denver like that.
No, and that was like April snow that we got. That's like Midwest snow.
Yeah. Especially the second one. The first one was nice and fluffy and really like, go play in Cheeseman Park and really get into it type of snow. The second one was like, oh, I hate this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're back and we're gonna talk about we're gonna go old school with today, and I think we're gonna do some picks. We're in a really fire week of the season, right? And NFL is really hitting right now. The Commanders-Eagles game was kind of lackluster in the first half, exploded a little bit in the second half. There was some things that we'll get into another day. As a guy who's on the Commanders bandwagon, it's hard to see 2 losses in a row. And once again, we'll touch on refereeing here in a bit. But the last week's loss was a brutal one, and this one, honestly, probably the biggest loss of the year for a team that's in contention, because the Eagles are at this point in a situation that they control their own destiny.
Yeah, and well, if to win the division, that would have been a huge win for the Commanders.
Right.
But I still think at 7-4 in the NFC, you're going to see the Commanders in the playoffs, and they're going to have another chance at this game. They very well could play the Eagles in the playoffs.
100%. And I'll tell you this. I was an Eagles doubter. I still don't love them.
I'm a Nick Sirianni doubter.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that though, like, but you look at them 8-2, tied for one back for the NFC lead.
Yeah, I mean, what there's
Lions.
Yeah, Lions have what, 1 loss?
1 loss.
Yeah.
Or wait, are they sitting by themselves at number 2 because the Vikings lost again, right? Vikings are at 3 losses now.
Well, let's look here. We can scroll through some standings here.
Yeah.
So
Oh, Vikings at 7-2.
Yeah.
They that's right. Yeah. Got some teams off. Who's got the bye weeks this week? You want to scroll down to the bottom real quick? So, yeah, I mean, Cardinals with 3 losses.
Yeah, that actually sounds right.
Yep.
That sounds right. Yep.
So, yeah, but once again, big week of football. Terrible Monday night game.
Yeah. So, something I wanted to talk about here about this last game is just the really inconsistency in face mask calls this year.
It's been bad.
I mean, Devonta Smith grabbed by the side in this past game against the Eagles, no call. The Sam Darnold in the back of the end zone earlier this year to end the game, no call. I think there was a face mask against the Bears this season, no call. But in a Joe Burrow,
3 in 1 play. There is video picture evidence of 3 different face masks. One on Joe Burrow, which should have been either face mask, but it's not just. It's not.
It's like illegal contact with the head of the quarterback.
Right, but it's not even that. It's a face mask.
Yeah.
Like, it's beyond just it's because there was the one that you and I were watching together where it was kind of like a full on like hand to the head that they didn't call as well. I can't remember what game that was, but this was a full on grab of the face mask, pull the face mask down. Then you got 2 different illegal hands to the face on linemen, all in the same play. And let's not even talk about the no call on the pass interference, which I'm actually okay with.
Well, I just want to see consistency, and that's my problem. Is Then in a crucial moment in the Chiefs game, they call a face mask that didn't happen.
Right.
And so if we're going to miss all these face mask calls, let's not make up face mask calls that aren't happening. Let's be consistent.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to be a little loose on them, but then let's not make up calls.
Right. Right. And
And
then
that bothers me a lot.
it bothers me a lot. You know, that the whole thing, you bring up the Chiefs and it's the whole like, oh, like, what are we doing here? What are we, is this a, we're, are we calling in from New York that the game needs to be fixed, which kind of goes back to what I slightly mentioned about the Commanders and the Steelers game last week, where anyone with one eye, like myself, could have seen, much less two eyes, that the ball is never even close to the 42. That it almost is at the 40 and a half,
Well,
but undoubtedly the 41, which is the line to gain.
why can't we challenge everything?
Why can't we challenge it?
And-
Well, they
and-
did challenge it. That's part of the problem.
Well, yeah, that was challenged.
It wasn't challenged by, it was challenged.
By New York,
It was
right.
challenged by New York,
'Cause that
and
was
it was
within-
challenged by it was within 2
Within 2
minutes
minutes,
because they
yeah.
tried to throw the flag.
Yeah.
But what this goes back to, like, why are we not using it? I mean, like there we have the technology. We're here. We don't need this old dude who can't see, these dudes in New York who got agendas. Like,
Yeah.
we're at the point where these guys are ruining the game that I love.
Well, look at that Vikings game. There was I think they're the back judge, right?
Yep.
And this is in the back of the end zone. So he's standing right there. Sam Darnold gets his head turned all the way around, basically.
The
And
helmet, he was almost looking in the side of his helmet.
somehow they're like, well, we couldn't see the face mask from there. You're standing right there. And if standing right there, you can't see it, then we need to reevaluate how this whole refereeing situation works in the NFL.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't have a better view than right fucking there.
Right. I mean, I guess
And
unless
fuck
you,
the Vikings,
well,
but still.
but
They
I
should-
guess
they
if
should
you
have
were
got a
the
face mask
defensive
on.
lineman who's ripping his head off, you could have had a better view.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, before we get too deep into that rant, let's talk about this week and what's going on. I right here, right off the back. I mean, arguably
What a game.
game of the week,
Mm-hmm.
arguably game of the year.
Yep.
What's going to happen, right? You have an unstoppable offense versus arguably the best defense in the league.
Yep.
TJ Watt is an animal
With an offense that's starting to click.
with an offense starting to click. I don't know your whole Justin Fields argument, but we have friends in our group who are very pro Justin Fields, and we're very like, hey, let's let Fields cook because Russ is washed. Russ ain't washed.
Russ is killing it.
Russ is out here. And this is, you've talked about this before. The Russ Sean Payton thing was never going to work.
Nope.
And now that we're beyond that, Russ is in a system where his style of football makes sense. You got now two deep threat wide receivers with Pickens and Mike Williams. And I don't like Mike Williams. I think he's fucking washed.
He'll get hurt in a week or two.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Williams, whatever.
He'll probably
But
get hurt this week.
But, I mean, Mike Williams last week against the Commanders, I mean, he didn't win the game, but without him, you don't win that game.
Yep.
That catch over the shoulder, well, the throw to score the touchdown to go ahead was
And Mike Williams is an amazing deep ball
immaculate.
wide receiver.
And that's exactly. And now you got George Pickens, who can do everything, but is also an unbelievable deep ball threat. And so now what are you going to do? Who are you going to guard over the top?
Yep.
Now your safeties are no longer, you can't play one high ever.
Nope.
And that opens up the run game with Najee, who's having a great season. And so you play too high because you got to have somebody on both sides of the field. Now that opens up the middle of the field too.
Yep.
So
And
it's
the Ravens' pass defense has been
atrocious.
probably the worst part of the team this year
I mean, arguably one of the worst
in the NFL right now.
in the NFL.
But that train on offense just keeps rolling.
Yep. I mean, look, the Lamar Derrick Henry combo and Zay Flowers is just flourishing into. I mean, if it's not for Jamar, wait,
And Bateman's heating up too.
yeah, who was the number one receiver in that draft with Zay? Was that wasn't Jamar? That was the year after, right?
Yeah, I'll look that up here.
Yeah. So, but Zay Flowers is flourishing into arguably the best wide receiver in that draft, and at what 28.
I was high on Zay too.
Well, I mean, you know, our boy Dustin was sitting there with the Chargers, having
I got him hyped on it.
Dude,
I was like, dude, watch this guy.
And then they took arguably the biggest wide receiver flop in quite a while.
Well, he's playing better
He's
this year.
playing better this year, but he's
So
also
I don't
running
wanna-
wide open because they run the ball.
Yeah, I don't
30
want to
times a
say
game.
he's a total. Last year, I would have said he was.
Yeah.
I want to give him a chance just because he is playing better football here in his sophomore year. Jackson Smith and Jigba was the top.
Jigba,
and that was until pick 20.
which is wild that they didn't have a
And
wide
Zay
receiver.
So it went 20 was Jackson Smith and Jigba. Next pick was Quentin Johnson. Next pick, Zay Flowers. Next pick, Jordan Addison. It went 4 wide receivers in a row.
Wow. That's kind of crazy. Well, saying all that, the Steelers are the real deal. I didn't want to admit it, but I think the Ravens are. I'm like, we're at the end of the day. Right now we're talking picks, right?
Yep.
We're talking picks, and I think the Steelers are not there yet. I think they have arguably the greatest coach in the league. I think
He's never had a losing
Mike Tomlin is a better coach than Andy Reid, and those are 1 and 2. I got to take the Ravens here. I got to trust the offense. We're in a modern day of football. If you ask me to pick this game 15 years ago, I take the Steelers every time. But in the modern era of football, I always take offense over defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one's tricky because the Steelers are at home, but I still have to go with the Ravens because that offense
Running the ball travels.
is just getting better and better and better.
Weird prediction here. I think they're going to run at TJ Watt.
Yeah, wear him out.
I think you run directly at TJ Watt. You go to the right side. If they put TJ on the left side, which they rarely do, then you run left. And you just run directly at TJ all game long.
Wear him out.
Wear him out. And then make him chase Lamar.
Not that he does get worn out, but
Well,
I don't want to disrespect him.
He's a freak. He's a freak.
Yeah, he's
a freak.
he's next level.
He's a freak.
Yeah. All right.
Do you have the comments up?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
So next up,
You see, Pat Queen revenge game. That's you got a little comment from Built by the Red Stick in Baton Rouge. That is a great point. Yeah, great point, Michael. Thanks for chiming in. Patrick Queen, go Tigers.
yeah, that's a good point.
And if there's anyone who can stop the run and the pass, he's that guy. He's that guy.
I mean, I got to respond to you.
I know.
I mean, we're gonna get to the Packers.
We're
game,
gonna get
but
to the Packers.
Hard to
game.
argue. Hard to argue.
Yep. But moving into Vikings Titans, I don't think we need to talk about this too much. I think Vikings kind of get back on track game.
I think so too.
I don't, what the Titans do well doesn't affect the way the Vikings play football, which is an interior run stopping defense. I think this might be a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans do, I think, have the number 1 scoring defense
Yep.
in the NFL. But,
Well, I thought that was the Chargers.
at least like a week ago, I saw it was the Titans.
Yeah, it's one of those teams. They're 1 and 2.
Yeah, but you'd have to think the Vikings get back on track here. I'd love to see a collapse. I'd love to see them just fall totally off a cliff, which I can't put past the Vikings.
Right.
But it'd be disrespectful not to pick them here.
No. Vikings taking that one. Colts Jets. As a Pat McAfee fan, this game's really hilarious because they're BFFs with old Aaron, and Pat might be a bigger Colts homer than I am a Tigers homer.
Well, he did play for him.
He did. And he deserves that. He's earned that. This is an interesting one. I'm gonna go with the home team. I'm gonna take the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, this one could go either way, and I hate
for
to
sure.
keep making the same picks, but I just think the Jets are going to bounce back a little bit here. I think the chemistry is going to start brewing. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, they're going to have weeks where they just click.
Yep.
And I don't think the Colts are a very good team right now, so I'm going Jets as well.
Yep. Broncos, Falcons. Broncos after 2 really tough losses.
Yeah.
I mean, getting your ass kicked by the Ravens in a way that no one, I mean, maybe flashback to the Saints week 1.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like, who has gotten their ass, who's beaten more ass than the Ravens did the Broncos 2 weeks ago? And then, look, play to win the game.
Well, I did watch I did watch the Patriots play the Bears.
Oh, well, yeah, that was pretty brutal. But that was oh, God, man. Fuck,
Taking my shots at my own team.
Yeah, that was bad, dude. That was bad. We'll get to that here in a second when we
do we think that AR is going to tap out again? I think he knows that if he taps out again, he's not playing anymore.
Is he starting this week?
Yeah, I think he's starting.
Interesting.
I think he's starting.
Interesting.
We can look that up, but I think he knows if he taps out again. But I just don't think he's a good enough quarterback. I mean, he threw 50% in college. He's throwing 50% in the pros. I mean, until he proves that he's anything better than a big physical runner that can throw a deep ball, you can't win in the NFL like that. And he relied so much on his legs that he got that tired. And he's not like a Jaden Daniels, where he's not carrying all this extra weight so he can run. Lamar doesn't carry a lot of extra weight. And I don't mean fat.
Right.
Muscle makes you tired. And he's built like a linebacker.
Oh, he's huge.
Yeah, he is built like a linebacker. And sure, those guys run sideline to sideline, but they're not also throwing. They're not calling play. I mean, yeah, they might call, one guy might have the green dot.
Right.
But like, you can kind of get a breather. It's constant as quarterback, you know? Let's see if he's
that's an interesting take. Well, does that change your pick on that Colts Jets game? Let's go back up to that. I mean, are you, or
No,
if AR plays, or are you does that?
Yeah, it says inside his 2-week exile and why Indy believes he's ready.
You know, look, I kind of made the comment about that, you know, as well. Like this dude, like they're benching him. I also threw out a comment in a conversation when I was watching football, maybe last Sunday or Sunday before. Does he have some sort of contractual thing that basically like, oh, we're gonna sit you out 2 games so you don't get this bonus?
I don't think so.
You don't think that could have weighed in?
No.
All right. I hear you. That was just an interesting thought that I had kind of thrown out, because I could see that. I could see that being a thing where they're like, hey, look, dude, like, you're the guy, but we're gonna fuck you here because you're acting like a bitch.
Oops. I was trying to type that in for you. I forgot I'm streaming it. I want Chris to give a shout out here to the Built by the Red Stick podcast. Do you want to say what they do here, talking to us here in the comments?
So
can you give a shout out here?
I would love to. My little brother Michael Oakley, huge amazing human being, started his own rehab facility in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and then through that has found a way to put out a podcast, Built by the Red Stick being Baton Rouge, and he's just he's out here putting out real life conversations about where he's come from, what he's doing, and it's just an amazing podcast where him and a buddy who both gone through a lot of difficulties in life, are talking about some of those hard times and what challenges they've overcome in their lives. But I really appreciate him watching us and giving us a chance to do what we do. What he does is much more important than what a bunch of idiots are talking about football every week. So thank you a lot, Michael. I appreciate that. But let's go back into the picks. Falcons Broncos here. As we were saying, Broncos 2 really tough losses in a row. Falcons, how do you lose to the Saints? I don't know. They suck at football. But we're here. We're here. I don't know. I'm going to pick the Falcons because of one thing and one thing only. They have been unarguably, them and the Buccaneers are the same team.
Yeah.
Good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. Well, they were bad last week, so that means they're going to be good this week. I'm taking the Falcons.
Well, we're going to go different here. I mean, in my original picks, not on here, I have the Falcons. I think both these teams are primed for a bounce back game, and I'm just leaning a little more towards the Broncos. I mean, they almost beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It was on a blocked field goal. They're playing good football. Bo Nix is looking pretty good.
And don't say that.
They're at home.
Don't
Broncos.
Don't say Bo Nix is looking good.
He is. He is.
Whatever. You're right. I hate to say it. I think we missed some games all the way at the top.
They almost beat the Chiefs.
I know. I think we missed some games all the way at the top. Keep going. Yep.
Oops. I was just skipping the Burger King ads in there.
Yeah.
All right, let's cut it back. Oh, man.
Yep. So we got to talk about it.
Well, let me kick this off.
Well, I want to say one thing before you dive in, because this is going to be a me sit back and laugh segment or part of the podcast here. You called the collapse after the Hail Mary. You said it was going to happen in private conversations between you and I, and not even the group message that we have that's an ongoing in our pick'ems. You called this Bears collapse in a me and you constant like back and forth combo that we were having. And you couldn't have been more right. And I'll push the mic away and let you talk about how bad losing the Patriots by 20 is.
I mean, just going on the collapse thing is, Matt Eberflus has been the head coach there for 3 years. And, this is what, year 4, I believe? Yeah. Year 4?
I thought it was 3, but
3. Yeah, you're right.
You would know better than I would.
No, you're right. And it's just there's players that have been on that team losing consistently, so they're hanging on by a thread, right? Like if you're holding a losing locker room together, it's not by much. So it only takes one big moment, one huge embarrassment to make those veteran players that have been there for a while to say, you know what, we're tired of this guy. And when you're basically, he's the head coach, but he's the defensive coordinator of that team. Your specialty is defense. And when you make bad defensive calls that cause a team to lose
over and over and
but
over
really
again.
bad. That one was really bad.
Yeah.
Like our defense is ranked really high, but when you make a call where you're like, don't cover the wide receivers, and it lets them get into Hail Mary range, and then you don't call a timeout to get your guy in check, your player in check, that is bad coaching.
Yep.
And the guys who've been losing, you can't hang on to that forever. And you can't accept that forever, especially when the coaches don't take accountability. So for me, I don't see how the Bears win this game, so I have to pick the Packers. But I will say this, that if the Bears somehow perform on offense, even if they lose, but if they win this game, this Thomas Brown guy who's taken over at OC, instant legend. Instant legend. But yeah, no, I'm taking the Packers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers here as well. Much agreeing of Michael, who grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and was the biggest Packers fan in the world. He's already trolling you a little bit.
I deserve it. I earned this.
I hate the Packers. I don't know why I hate the Packers. I do think Jordan Love is a fucking sham. I don't think he's what people think he is. I think he is a turnover machine. I think he makes bad decisions. Is he deserving of a starting job as an NFL quarterback? Of course. Not saying that in any sense, but I don't think that he is the guy that's going to bring you to a Super Bowl. But saying all that, Packers getting the win, 7-3, 8-3, whatever they're going to be.
Yeah, I wanted to just pull this stat up here. Let's see if I can find it real quickly here because he was like tied for interception leads.
Yeah,
but
there it is.
Jordan Love's also, he's tied 10 interceptions with Geno and Sam, but I think he's also like first or second in touchdown passes. So
right. I mean, but Jameis Winston went 30-30. You know.
Oh, yeah. Early prediction: the script has Bears upset Chiefs on Black Friday. Hilarious. I don't feel good about that game. I'll tell you the truth.
No, I don't think anybody feels good about that one.
But that is hilarious.
I don't think we need to talk much about Jags Lions.
No, especially with Trevor Lawrence out.
Yeah, and I mean, look, the
Lions
Lions.
are just on a roll.
Hey, I saw one of those like memes, like meme videos by one of I can't remember what Instagram guy, but he's hilarious. I watch stuff all the time. And it was why Jared Goff had to throw 5 interceptions, and the answer was Dan Campbell needed to show how big his nuts are. He was like, no, hey, throw it.
Yeah.
Throw it. All right, we're down by how much? All right, now let's turn it on. But yeah, I think the Lions are unstoppable right now. What do you think about this one? 2-7 Raiders, 3-6 Dolphins. I mean, I'm taking the Dolphins here.
Oh yeah.
But man, I mean, is this like is this this is bad. These 2 bad teams. Like, I know that the Dolphins have potential, but at the end of the day, like, you're 3-6. They had a great game against the Rams. Rams have burned me back-to-back weeks now in the pick'ems.
Yeah. Well, my thing is this, like, the Dolphins' record is because Tua was out. They're just not a team without Tua. But, like, let's see here. They won their last game, right? They beat the Rams.
Yep.
And then they lost by 3 to the Bills. And those are the 2 games, 30-27 Bills-Dolphins.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 games since Tua's been back. And I think the defense played pretty well while Tua was out.
Yeah,
so I think
they gave him a chance for sure.
I think they have potential to keep playing well. Even though, like, since Tua's been back, the defense hasn't been playing as good. But then again, they played against Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford. So, like, when you have quarterbacks on that level that you're playing against, you might not always look great. I think this is actually an easy game to pick. It's the Dolphins for me.
Yeah, I agree more. I think the next
I could
one,
see this being a blowout.
That honestly took the words out of my head. Rams Patriots. I mean, I think the Patriots played the best game that they're going to play all season.
Yeah.
And stomped the Bears in a bad way. I think the Rams played one of the worst games. Matt Stafford looked like I don't even know who. I mean, he did not look like himself. There was a couple interceptions in that game that I'm like,
he's been taking some shots, and like I know going back to the Lions, he struggled with like back problems.
Yeah,
I mean, he got beat up on the Lions.
Yeah,
and he's one of the toughest guys out there, I really believe.
I mean, I saw the video of his rookie year against the Browns when he dislocated his shoulder and went back in through the game-winning touchdown. Like, come on, dude. Dude's a baller.
So I wonder if he's just dealing with some bumps and bruises that he's not the type of guy to talk about.
Right.
But I'm going with the Rams.
I'm going with the Rams as well. We're very, very, very in line this week.
Yeah, I think the only game we disagreed on was the Broncos-Falcons.
Yeah,
so far.
Yep. Well, Saints Browns. Fucking Saints. Fuck you. Fucking. Yeah, I knew we were gonna win when we lost the coach. I just didn't think it was gonna gonna be against the Falcons. I thought the Falcons were a better team than that. I didn't think that the Falcons were gonna lose a game to a team that fucking is out here just hyped up because DA. But what really pisses me off, what really lights me up about the Saints beating the Falcons is the score. I'm like, we're gonna fucking win this game. Fuck the Saints. I hate the Saints. It's fucking stupid. And then I got on board. I was like, well, we gotta win. We gotta win. And then we almost gave it away.
Yep.
We almost gave it away. What the fuck was DA doing on the sidelines this year? That all I see is that if that dude never steps foot on the sidelines as the Saints coach, the Saints are winning the division right now.
Yep.
Now, do we lose a couple games because of the injuries that I've talked about on this podcast before? Yeah. Like, yes. When your number 1, number 2, number 3 wide receivers are all out, your number 1 safety, your number 3 linebacker, your number 3 defensive lineman, your starting offensive tackle, your starting offensive guard, yeah, when all of those guys are out, you're going to lose games. But that's 2 games. If DA is never on the sideline, we're I don't know.
3 more wins.
Yeah. I mean, we're 6 and 4. We're 6 and 4. So that's frustrating. It's frustrating to the fact that the Saints are going to win again, and we're going to screw up our pick here. But we're the Saints. The Saints are going to be the Browns are bad.
As much, and no offense to the Saints, this isn't about the Saints when I say this. As much as I want to see a Jameis revenge game, I got the Saints.
Yeah. I'd love to see Jameis. I love I love Jameis.
Me too. This is a Jameis friendly podcast.
Very Jameis. Hey, he had a rough game, but he did beat the Ravens.
Yeah.
Who else beat the Ravens? The Chiefs.
Yep. I was like, who was it? All right. Well, at the 2:00 we got the Seahawks at the Niners, another division game.
Flip a coin.
Yeah.
Pick the home team. Go Niners. Christian McCaffrey should be back. He's been practicing. Geno, I'm high on Geno. Big Geno guy. He's looked
a lot of picks though.
He's not looked good this year. Not look good this year. Yes, Jameis's pregame interviews are legendary, Michael. I agree. But I'm taking the Niners here. I think it's more of a home game. But man, I could see Geno just getting it together this week, like really focusing, and that team playing good, and the Seahawks. This is a fight. I think everyone that did our preseason draft party, pick'ems party when we do it, which I cannot wait. We got some surprises for you coming next year. I mean, we're looking forward to this. We had a 45-minute conversation, Jacob and I, about what we're gonna do next year, and we're gonna film the whole thing. It's gonna be fantastic.
Can't wait.
But we had unarguably 2 teams in the West and they're brutalizing each other. I don't know.
I mean, I still think the Cardinals might win that division.
I think the Cardinals aren't going to win that
division. And this is a tough one because with McCaffrey back, they're a better football team. But I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Yeah, I get that.
Just because Brock Purdy hasn't played well against man coverage this year.
And that's what the Seahawks
do. And I
do.
think the Seahawks have the ability to play good man coverage. Yeah. So I'm taking the Seahawks on that fact, and only that. That's the only reason.
No, I honestly love that pick, and my entire basis for who's winning this game is picking the home team.
Yeah.
So,
which is a good move too.
That's where I'm at. Another game of the week.
I mean, this is it.
This is it. Can Josh Allen finally beat Patrick Mahomes? Home field. It's going to be cold. Obviously, the Chiefs are used to cold weather games, but
yep. They won a freezing cold playoff game last year.
Yep, but I think look, How many times are the Chiefs gonna almost lose?
Yeah. Well, it looks like on Sunday it's going to be like maybe in the 50s.
Oh, so weather's not that bad.
No.
Weather's not that bad.
Cloudy in the 50s.
I'm taking the Bills. I'm taking the Bills. The Chiefs should have lost to Atlanta. Should have lost to Denver. And neither of those teams are as good as the Bills. Bills 8-2. Look, I think the Chiefs are going to end up being the number one seed in the AFC. But I do think that Josh Allen finally gets his win against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think we're going to see this game again in the playoffs, but I'm going Bills.
Yep. Wow.
We only have a 1-game difference.
Wow. 2.
Oh. You took 49ers.
I took 49ers. And then I'm upset that I have to work all day Sunday this week. I've been not having to work Sundays and been watching football all day, and it's been pretty legendary.
Awesome.
I forgot how amazing of a feeling it is to watch football from 11 a.m. until 10 p.m. And one of our best friends, Dustin, is a Chargers fan. I'm obviously huge Joe Burrow guy. Huge Burrow guy. Burrow's playing MVP football. The defense is it's weird. Their defense does this whole thing where it's like, we're going to be good until it matters.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm going to be a homer. I'm going to pick the Bengals.
Well, I think the Chargers are playing really good football, but I think they have a really easy schedule too.
Yeah.
And I think
it's about to get really difficult.
The 4-6 of the Bengals, I don't think does justice to how they've been playing the past few weeks.
I agree.
And so I'm taking the Bengals because if Joe Burrow is going to play Joe Burrow football,
which he's going to,
which he has been,
yeah,
and Jamar Chase is going to play Jamar Chase football. Those two,
did he
those
have
two
279 and 3, 279 and 3, I think it was.
Right now, those guys are just clicking. If they weren't clicking, I would be picking the Chargers.
Right.
But when those two guys are on point, I don't know how you beat it.
You want to pull up if T's playing?
That's AFC Championship football that they play. Yeah, T. Higgins. Let's see. T. Higgins is expected to play against the Chargers. He's missed the last 3 games with a quad injury.
Look, dude, if T's in the game, he like every game he's played, he's eaten because basically you can't zero in on him because you gotta double Jamar, and when you double Jamar, T. Higgins is just gonna eat you alive.
Yep.
Interesting conversation. They're gonna pay him. They're gonna trade him. They're gonna what's gonna go on with T?
I mean, I'd have to look at their cap situation to really understand. I don't know their cap situation.
Yeah.
I think that if you're the Bengals, there's 3 guys you're trying to keep on your team.
Trey Hendrickson.
I'd even let him go. I would keep Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins.
Yeah.
And then I would balance the cap however you have to beyond that.
I call the Saints. They know how to do it.
Yeah. Just keep spending.
just be $90 million over the cap
money down the road.
Yeah, it works. Let me tell you. Fucking idiots.
I'd be trying to keep him though.
Also, primetime. I've grown to like Justin Herbert a little bit more than I did, probably because of Dustin. But Joe Burrow in primetime is, I mean, like, go look at the numbers. They're wild.
He's got the frosted tips going right now. He looks like he's about to be in a boy band in the year 2000. Like, I am ready for primetime Burrow.
It's gonna be amazing. Does he ever look happy? I'm trying to think back.
He looks happy when he's smoking a cigar after he wins the Natty.
I'm
just trying to get you hyped.
Let's fucking go.
I'm trying to get you hyped.
Last time LSU did anything fucking worth a damn. No, hey, respect to Jaden Daniels. Respect to Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
Heisman. We had a national championship offense last year. We just the worst defense in the history of those.
Yep. All right, well, I'll try to move you on from having negative thoughts here. Texans at Cowboys.
Cowboys suck.
The Cowboys are absolute garbage. They're using sun shining through the lights of their stadium as a weapon. Apparently, it hurts their team too. And I'm going to go with the Texans because even though they've had a little bumpier road, C.J. Stroud's had some ups and downs this season. You know, that's what happens when you have a great rookie year and teams start watching film on you.
Yep.
That's a good thing to have happen.
Yep. I think Jaden Daniels is going to experience a lot of that. I think he's actually
I
experiencing
think
it
it's
right
starting
now.
to happen now. Yeah, they're like, we need to watch film on this guy.
Yep.
And I think this is the Texans.
Yep.
I did have one last thing I want to say. I want to go back up to this Bears-Packers game. And this doesn't have anything to do with the Packers, but something that people really aren't talking about. Who's the tight end? Is it Hayden Hurst that's the tight end on the Panthers? Do you know?
Used to be on the Bengals.
Yeah, is that who it is?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't know where he went. I feel like Charles.
Tommy Tremble. So
I feel like Charles Barkley.
it's been
Who
over
they play
a month
for?
since the Bears played the Panthers, and Quan Brisker went to make a tackle, and Tommy Tremble lowered his head at the last minute and gave Brisker a concussion. Brisker finished the game. It's his third diagnosed concussion in 3 years. He has been out. We talk about Tua all the time. Brisker has been out for an entire month with a concussion. He's out again this week, and this week they finally put him on IR. So he's been out for a month with a concussion and now is going on IR, which means he's going to be out for 4 more weeks.
Yeah.
So Brisker's going to be out 2 months with a concussion. And Tommy Tremble got fined $17,000 for lowering his head and doing that. But and I'm not saying it's his fault, it's football, but for all the talk that goes around Tua, it's crazy that the NFL has shut down the media. No one's talking about the fact that Brisker's missing 2 months from a concussion.
Yep. I think you sent me the picture. Georgia Tech, Miami.
Oh my God.
I mean, arguably one of the worst face masks I've seen in years.
I wish we could show that on here.
And then the Miami guy that targeted, that was the third targeting call of the game against Miami.
Crazy.
2 of them got overturned. One of those 2 I thought shouldn't have got overturned. I thought should have been a target. That dude, I mean, it was the worst. I mean, you gotta, there's no way as a player that you don't see how that dude's getting his head ripped off by one of your players, and then instead of you just tackling him, just running him over, you decide to lower your head, jump off your feet at 200, and I mean, whew.
This is going to be a little blurry, but here we go. I can't show the video, but
I mean,
this guy just got face masked, turns around, gets helmet to helmet. This is after the helmet to helmet. Well, maybe it wasn't helmet to helmet.
No, it was. He lowered
I thought it was.
No, he lowers the helmet. That's. I mean, if we could, I wish we could get a 2 shots before that.
Oh, you can tell from here that.
There it is. There it is.
Helmet.
Yeah, I mean,
open YouTube, but
it was bad. I mean, look at that head completely down, underneath the chin. I mean, and he launches. What you're not seeing right there is he completely leaves his feet.
Oh yeah,
that was bad. Sorry, I know. We're talking about I know.
Worth talking about. We were already talking about face mask penalties. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, hey, look, I will say this. Not that there's been phenomenal refereeing in NCAA this year, but it's been more consistent and better than the NFL.
Absolutely.
Well, to wrap this up, I'm also gonna take the Texans because the Cowboys suck. Cooper Rush I don't think he's bad. Maybe in the right situation, he could be a serviceable winning quarterback. I don't think
winning that game.
No. Well, hey, we're glad to be back. Obsessed with Balls podcast.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it. Love it.
Go check out Built by the Red Stick podcast. Show some love. Give them a like. Give them a follow. We appreciate that a lot, and thanks for being here.
Peace.